Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, people on YouTube. And welcome back to William in Japan. Today, you join me in my garage because of a very special guest. Yes, it's the 2022 Z900RS from Kawasaki. Well, the regular viewers of this channel will know that I'm looking for my next bike to replace the two I have right now. And frankly speaking, this bike may be on the top of my list of which I should get. Well, have a quick look at the equipment. Upside down forks, Kawasaki branded radial calipers, very nice radial master cylinder. What a beautiful paint job, just look at that. And of course, the good old twin clocks. And since she has been sitting here all night, that you guys have a quick sound check with a cold start. Alright, enough with the chatting. Let's go for a ride. Alright, welcome back guys, as we pull away. That's why you like an inline 4, guys. The soundtrack is just the best. Anyways, a quick rundown of the specs. 948 cc's, dual overhead cam inline 4 engine, making 110 horsepower, 98 newton of torque, newton meters of torque, and weighing 215 kilograms, ready to go. So that spec, looking at it, especially the power numbers and the torque numbers, is actually identical to my Ducati Supersport. Both of these bikes make 110 horsepower, but since the Ducati is a L2 engine configuration, torque and power comes on earlier compared to this inline 4. But although the Z900RS is inline 4, look at this. The red line starts at 10,000 RPM, which is again completely same with the Ducati. So, other than having a smoother engine, the power comes up later. The torque curve isn't as flat, but I have to give it to Kawasaki. Although it is not as flat as the Ducati, it is more than adequate. The torque is definitely enough. I can pull decently in 3rd gear and 4th gear without much of a hassle. And since it weighs 215 kilograms only, commuting on this bike definitely won't be a problem. It is nimble enough to weave through traffic. The handlebars, especially the handlebars, are actually taller and closer to me compared to my CB250R, that little bike. So it's way more comfortable, a lot wider too. So you can really handle this bike easily when trying to get through these kind of traffic. And thanks to this inline 4 engine, pulling away especially when you're adding a bit more throttle. It's just so smooth. But I'm not sure if it's because me getting used to a single cylinder on my CB250 and a 2-cylinder on my Ducati. This is a bit too smooth for me. I'm not feeling excited when I'm riding this bike so far. We'll definitely see how it performs when we get to the twisties. But for these kind of roads, riding around is not as fun as my CB or my Super Sport, which is a bit surprising since myself is a huge lover for inline-4 engines. But this is the first time when I got on this bike I feel kind of bored. Of course, I'll be riding it for less than an hour. We will see how I feel when I have a bit more time on the saddle. Alright, see you in a bit. Alright, welcome back guys. So we're on the highway for a bit. We're doing around 90 kilometers in 6th gear. So RPM wise we're around 3,500, and this engine, I must give it to it, is nice and smooth in 6th gear in highway speeds. However, some bad news too. Alright, let's slow down first. So we're still at 3,500 as you can see. But when you pass 5,000 RPM, yep, exactly, 5,000 RPM, there's a very high frequency buzz right now, right as we speak, through my legs and through the foot pegs, coming through the seat and the tank. So this is definitely not a good place to sit in this RPM. But after you get through that area, let's say we're doing 8,000 RPM right now, that high frequency buzz disappears. Very weird. And we come back down again, yep, so does the buzz. So definitely 6th gear doing high speeds, no problem at all. But if you're stuck between 5,000 RPM and 7,500 around that area, that buzziness really will get your feet numb very soon. Welcome back. So after being in the saddle for the past 2 hours, 2.5 hours actually, there are a few nitpicks, not big problems, just nitpicks that I've found, and most of them can be solved very easily. So first of all, no heated grips. Fortunately, we are in the warm day today, 14 degrees, but if you're going to live with this, definitely some heated grips would be nice. Kawasaki does provide heated grips as an option, so should be a very easy solution. Second, the back brakes. So again, this may be just because it lacks some adjustment, but I feel I need to press down quite a bit to actually get some adequate braking from the rear brakes. So I can lift up the brakes, the levers at a more upper position. That shouldn't be a problem as well. So another one is the airbox and the exhaust. So as a whole, this bike is pretty quiet, and that's a good thing when you don't want to wake your neighbors up in the morning. But for someone who likes riding, especially down these really long trips, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours in the saddle, I really hope I can get some pops and burbles, some honking from the airbox, some panache, if I may put it that way, some character. Some may say it, use that word, I guess. So this is just a smooth engine, somewhat okay sound from the airbox, but really nothing from the exhaust. So again, a slip-on or even a full system can get that solved easily. So it's not a deal breaker, but just something to keep in mind. Other than that, I did find out the seat height isn't as intimidating as I thought it would be. So that's actually a good thing. So I can flat foot both sides on the same time when I come to a stop. Although this seat on paper is, I think, over 800 millimeters. I think 810 or 820. I need to check. But definitely, for someone my size, 5'6", if someone is interested, 171 centimeters, 5'6", I can flat foot both sides. So yeah, this seat definitely won't be a big problem. But the seat itself is actually pretty hard. I'm a bit surprised. I thought it would be a nice fluffy seat because this is light, nice and long retro bike. But that is not the case. It is pretty hard. So maybe an aftermarket insert will help if you're doing long trips on this. And finally, since this is a 4-cylinder motorcycle, nothing much you can do with that. It is quite wider than the bikes I ride right now. Of course, one is a single cylinder, one is a V2, so they are both very, very slim. And since this is a bit wider, the crankcase on my right, let me show you right now when I come to a stop. Okay, the crankcase actually bumps into my foot when I put my feet down. So again, just something you need to get used to, but something to watch out for as well. So nitpicks, that's about it. And we will come back when we get to the twisties. Right, welcome back guys. We are now officially in the twisty roads of Izu Peninsula. So back a while ago, I made a video around here as well. And for those who don't know what the peninsula is like, it consists of very, very little plains from the shoreline. So basically every road you choose to ride inland are all nice twisty roads like this. So back to the Z900RS. How does it perform on these kind of fast flowing back roads? Well, I must say it feels extremely natural. When you turn in, it keeps the line nicely, doesn't fight you, and it really doesn't need a lot of effort to throw it around like this. Yes, it's over 200 kilograms, my apologies, 200 kilograms, but you don't feel the weight when you're riding through these fast bending curves. Throttle work is easy as well. In stop and go traffic, the throttle basically, it's a bit grabby when you open it up and turn it off. Maybe because the engine brake is a bit too harsh, but on fast flowy speeds, it's nice and smooth and linear. And for the suspension, well, for someone like me who doesn't really push it anywhere, ride it as not at blistering speeds, it is more than adequate. I don't feel any front end chatter. Back end does not slip. Of course, I am not giving it the beans. And yeah, I think for a normal road rider, who's not chasing lap times and not pushing to their limits, this bike is more than adequate. And the front brakes, I must give Kawasaki a big round of applause. This master cylinder paired out with those two 4-pot pistons, 4-pot calipers up front, 1-finger brake, 2-finger brake, it bleeds off speed really nicely. Initial bite is nice and strong, and when you apply more pressure, it is very linear. So yeah, I like this brake setup as well. One thing bad about this bike though is, I think, due to the tires. The ride isn't very plush. Suspension should be, at least this is a speculation, so please take it with a pinch of salt. The suspension should be good enough for riding at, let's say, 80 kilometers, 90 kilometers around those flowy back roads we just did. But the ride just isn't great, especially going over bumps. And I have to say, it should be because of these tires. These are Dunlop GPR 300s, and I actually rode with them when the CB 250R had them, because it came with them as well. So it may be because of the rubber compound, it may be because of the carcass. In a whole, it is pretty hard. So when you're going through bumps, you can feel it through your spine, through the machine. Maybe a more plusher suspension setup will help, but in my experience at least, when I switch out the tires, these GPR 300s from the CB on the CB 250R to those Pirelli Scorpions, the ride actually got a lot better. So I'm suspecting, same with the Z900RS, the same situation will happen if we switch out these tires. Okay, since we're stuck in traffic, let's meet you guys again when we're back at faster paces. See you in a bit. Right guys, I might regret this, but since we are stuck with so much traffic, I left the main road and headed into the old road, which surprisingly is unpaved. Alright, I have my traction control on at 1. I'm going to take it nice and slowly. Oh, let's go to the left side. And definitely it will be a weird review of this Z900RS, but if we get back to some pavement, it should be a more fast-flowing road. But for now, please join me on this little adventure with 17-inch sport road tires on a frickin' gravel road. Didn't expect to see this, but heck, why not? Let's have some fun. So when riding on these kind of roads, you always want a very linear throttle and a progressive brake, especially on the back. So as you know, the back brake isn't very strong, but at least it definitely can get the job done by helping us to bleed off some speed when we need to. And since this 4-cylinder engine is just so smooth and has the grunt that we need to go uphill in second gear, I must say it's still doing pretty well. Hopefully the deeper we go, the road doesn't deteriorate so much, or else we have to turn back. But so far, I think this is something we can still handle, especially at this pace. Some squabbling from behind me. It's very normal because there's so much gravel on this road right now. Nothing we can't handle. Just let... Alright, let's slow down a bit. Clutch in. Yeah, okay. Let the bike do its thing. And remember, don't use first gear, because that may be too much torque and it'll spin you off your track. And of course, I am no professional or pro, or at least a good off-road rider, but at least since I do explore these kind of roads on my little CB, I'm kind of familiar of how it feels when going at this speeds. So I'm pretty okay with this. And of course, this does not mean the Z900RS are meant for these kind of roads. Alright, a lot of mud. Let's slow down. Alright, let's go. Good riders will definitely be backing it in right now, but I definitely couldn't, so let's just take it at a nice and slow pace. Oh yes, some gravel, thank God. Alright, since we're going downhill, a bit more caution. Bleed out speed with the rear brake from time to time. Watch out for bumps, big rocks, trunks, or even roots of trees, or you'll definitely fall off your bike very easily, since remember, this is a 215 kilogram bike. She is no lightweight. If you get too far off on one side, it's definitely hard to keep her upright. Alright, I have some ABS kicking in the back, so it's definitely helping me out there. Frankly speaking, when going through roads like this, I would prefer no ABS on the back, but oh well. This is no off-road bike, and it has no option to turn off the ABS. It would just have to do with what we have. I must say, this says a lot about the Z900RS being able to do this quite easily. The throttle is really, really nice, I have to say that. I'm not nervous riding these roads right now. Everything is under control and it feels great. If I have some more knobbly tires, actually I think this bike can definitely do this. Alright, clutch in again, nice and slow, keep her upright. Easy on the throttle, back to second, let's continue. actually quite a fun route. I should bring my CB next time to these kind of roads. Alright, keep her upright, good. And we are back to pavement, guys. Oh, job well done, I have to say. Okay, looks clean. Now we have to watch out for any tree trunks or gravel that we might slip over, and moss, of course. Yes, moss. Can now use the front brake now. Okay, which way should we go? One moment. Somehow my Google Maps has been turned off. Let's have a quick look. Okay, we should head front back to 414. So back to the main road that actually had the traffic jam then. So unfortunately, if the traffic jam is still there, I'll have to cut it off and see what we have in a bit. But looks like we don't have much of traffic at all. That's really nice, guys. Right, let's pick up the pace. Oh, that's why it turned off. It lost the tethering, but who cares? Should be fine. I know the route now. Let's enjoy the road. So if I have the Russell 4s, oh, I gotta slow down. Unfortunate. He just wants me to slow down. Okay. Oh. That was awkward, but should be fine now. This is when you hope your fingertips actually work, but they never do. At least these never do. The ones I bought new from Kushitani, Komine, and what else? I think that's both. Yeah, the new two gloves are those. They work, so unfortunately these don't. These are from Komine too, but really don't know what's the difference. Alright, I digress. Where was I? Yes, if I put those Pirelli Russell 4s on this bike, I think the riding feel will be much better than this. Right now, yes, I have grip for sure, but I don't know why. I feel like sometimes it feels a bit vague. I'm not sure how to put it, but it just feels insecure from time to time, which is very similar to the GPR 300s when I have it on the CB250R. So I really think it is because of the tires. The GP300s, GPR 300s, sorry, are decent tires for their price, but they are nowhere close to the premium tires that I just mentioned. The Bridgestone S22s, again the Russell 4s, should perform way better than what I have right now. But nevertheless, hustling through these curves at this speed, no problem at all. This bike handles it like a boss. Okay, catching up to traffic again then. let's cut it off here and head into my final thoughts. Alright guys, my final thoughts. Well, we are at Kawazu City, home of the Kawazu cherry blossoms, the Kawazu Sakura. And we're a bit late for the blossom season, but we still have quite a lot left. So it's still a great time of the year to come visit. Anyways, the Z900RS, my final thoughts. Looks, she is 10 out of 10. No need to hide there. I loved how she looks. However, I do notice some stuff. You can see around here. You see this point up here, locking point down here. This is obviously for a different motorcycle, and they use this radiator without changing that, so the locking points are still there. So yeah, a kind of part spin basket thing, but yeah, I think it's acceptable. All right, looks 10 out of 10. Performance, kind of hard to give it a final number. The engine itself is buttery smooth, as I mentioned, only a few buzzing points from around the rev range, but it's acceptable. Torque, I don't know why. It says to have 98 newton meters, but it definitely does feel a bit weaker, even if I'm in its power range, power band. So I don't know. Maybe a 6 out of 10. It's not great, it's not bad, but it's not exciting. And that basically concludes how I feel about this bike. Riding it, it's not exciting. It's a fine bike for sure, but will it tickle you? Will it get you to really want to buy this bike? Not really, at least not for me. So will this be my next bike? I don't know. Probably would be, but I definitely need to try some other bikes out. Anyways, thanks for joining me. This has been William, and see you next time. Bye bye.